Welcome back to another Rhize demo video. In this video, we are going to go over 5 ways to look at material using ISA-95 and Rhize. We'll use our interactive GraphQL Explorer to query some different material models. Okay, so let's get started. First, let's look at the material definitions. When we schedule, make, or measure production, it's very important to know that when we use one word, it means exactly one thing. So the material definition is foundationally important because it ensures that when we refer to a certain material or material version, we are being precise. This brings consistency and quality to our processes. Now, one thing you can do with material definitions is group them in classes. Classes are ways to organize material definitions by some meaningful association. For example, this dairy class probably has all the material that contains a property of lactose. You can create classes like raw material. So here we got raw material like egg and butter, sugar, or maybe intermediate material. Let's have intermediate material like dough and frosting. So classes help filter and organize. They are useful in reporting. For example, let's take a look quickly at this genealogy dashboard that we made. We used colors to give a visual cue to each different class. So here you can see blue is finished goods, green is raw, and yellow are intermediate goods. We will talk a little bit more about genealogy in just a minute, but before I do that, let's go to the material specifications. Consider, for example, a material definition such as an egg. In a baking operation, this definition might appear in many different recipes. So the material specifications define the material definitions that are used for a particular recipe or segment of production. We're using batch, but of course they apply to continuous or discrete processes too. So here, let's look at the work master for this product called FC Cookies, and here are our material specifications. So we've got the material definition and the quantity. Now another level, more particular to a certain batch, is the material lot. Lots present uniquely identifiable material along the manufacturing process. This is extremely important if you need to track your material as it becomes a part of a finished good. So there are 2 ways to think about material lot composition. One is forward genealogy, which tells you all the material that this material went into. So for example, this flour went into cookie dough, and the cookie dough itself is a component of the cookie unit, and the unit became a cookie box. On the reverse, we could also look at the backward genealogy. So let's go ahead and take a look at the cookie box again and see all the material that went into it. Quite a lot of material in the unit, like the dough, the wrapper, and so on. And if you're curious about learning more about this use of material lots, you can read our genealogy guide in the documentation. Here you can see a graphical representation of this reverse genealogy. The cookie box has a wrapper and cookie units. The cookie unit has frosting and dough, and the frosting and the dough have their own material. All of this material has a definition, an ID, and quantity and unit of measure, and so on. So back over here, one other important property of a material lot is its disposition. This disposition tells us if this material has actually been finished or reconciled. This one is closed, but dispositions also could be in progress or ready. And now finally, we get to the actuals. The actuals tell you what was actually done in one job response. Let's zoom in on make frosting job, which is one part of a larger batch to make cookies. And here you can see in this frosting, here's the actual that tells us the quantity, the specific way that the material was used, whether it was consumed or produced. And why is this useful? Well, this is how you build out a complete track and trace. If you really want to know everything that happened with a certain batch, you can look beyond the lots and study the who, what, when, where, and how of the job. And now these job response and actuals tell me everything about the material that happened. I could extend to personnel and equipment, but we have a different video on that. Alright, that was 5 ways to look at material. Thanks for watching.